Hello again, YouTube! Dr.Kendo is back with Scribblenauts Unlimited. These are the object editor commentaries, of course. I hope you enjoyed this series. There's like almost 80 episodes at this point, or I should say more than 70, basically. So we're gonna start off with this archer that is up on the top of this castle building. I thought that this was an appropriate setting for the famous character that we're creating today. And this is the first character to be voted on under the new request rules for requesting items in this series. Basically, a really short explanation of how the new item requesting works is basically just that you guys will request things only on the episode that is being uploaded today as we speak for this week. And whichever comment has the most votes up, plus ones, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it, and or comments that say, you know, make this item, basically whichever one has the most action, we are going to create. You can probably already see this coming to fruition. We're creating Link from the Legend of Zelda series, and this first Link is going to be Young Link, and this particular one is going to be one of like 4 links that I'm going to create for you today, or maybe 5 links. I haven't even thought about how many we're going to go through, but basically, this is the one that's going to look least like my input, you know, was given, because so many people out there have made Young Link already, and I've seen too many of them that now my mind is like kind of cluttered with the image of how they created Young Link. So you probably saw that the source object was an archer and the head was an angel. Anyway, let's get on with the fun facts and history first, and then we'll see a whole bunch of other links that I will create for you and show you how it's done to create them. Link, of course, is the main protagonist of the Legend of Zelda series, and he actually shares a birth year with me since the first Legend of Zelda game came out on the NES in Japan in 1986, and I was born in that year as well. That Zelda NES game was actually the second NES game I ever remember owning, with my first being Duck Hunt. It also should be known that they were not only my first NES games, but my first ever video games to own of all time. Anyway, what's interesting to me is that most of the Links in these games are all a different person, even though they share the same name. Their identities are often paired with a title or some sort of distinction, like Ocarina of Time's Link being deemed the hero of time and the hero of winds in the Wind Waker, etc., etc. I also think it's interesting that, as far as I know, we haven't really heard much about Link's family in any of the games, with Ocarina of Time being a minor exception, only alluding to the reference that his mother had died after escaping a war in Hyrule and leaving him under the care of the great DEKU tree. Very random next, but interesting. Link actually switched his sword-holding hand in Twilight Princess, as Nintendo didn't want any confusion since that was the introduction of Wiimotes as swords. In this game, Link suddenly started wielding the sword in his right hand, and we all held the Wii Remote in our right hands, so consequently, Link became a righty. Now, regarding Link's abilities, we all know that he's a swordsman and is good with a sword and shield, and he's had a few experiences with musical instruments over the years, so basically all of this will be reflected in his scripting, in that he'll use swords, shields, and musical instruments. Now, before I get on with the rest of the fun facts, I just wanted to show you that this is actually my take on Adult Link. Here we've started off, of course, with the archer once again for the source object and did a lot of similar things, but this time you can really create him with most of the heads that you want in this way that I'm creating him, but notice right here that I've made the elven ear. It's basically if you just type in shark and you grab this fin right there, you know, his right fin, I guess, the shark's, and you paint it flesh colored or whatever and put it behind that strip of hair that's covering up the little dot in the shark fin. So those 2 side strips of hair are called comb over, COMBOVER. And then hair is the 2 hair pieces that are up at the top, the tufts. And then we've just taken a hemisphere shape to put that on the top for his cap, along with, you know, you could use a horn, you could use ivory, you could use lots of different shapes. Some people have just done the triangle or the cone to make that little point in his cap, his green kokiri hat. But yes, I'm going to make sure to size him up a little bit bigger, of course, than my young Link, and I'm going to paint his quiver of arrows back there. Probably I'm going to experiment with a gold, but it's basically like this gold / purplish blue color, and I don't know if I like it just being the yellow right there, so let's see what it just looks like with this purple in it, and I just need to customize that color right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I think that that's a little bit better off. So then just using geometric shapes for the eyes as well as dots, and you can put a nose for the nose. That's easy enough. But yes, all of the links that I'm going to create right here will have all of the scripting the same, just so that that will be universally all throughout. They all shoot a projectile of a boomerang whenever they start taking damage, but they also become brave so that they won't run away from fights. They'll use the swords, shields, and musical instruments, as I said, and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to get on with the rest of the fun facts, but only once I introduce the next creation, starting off with a WATERBEARER. We're going to make the new Link that comes from the new Wii U game, which doesn't exactly have a name yet, but it's going to be out on Wii U probably in the year 2015, but I honestly would not be surprised if it took till the end of 2015 to make that game. But yes, okay, so some last fun fact tidbits are the number of appearances that Link has made in other games or media. He's of course always been one of the fighters initially available in the Smash Bros series, and even in Monster Hunter 4, there is a downloadable quest after which the player can get some armor to forge that resembles Link. Not to mention that the Master Sword and Hylian Shield are also in that game, along with the Hero's Bow as well. Link also makes a cameo in Sonic Lost World's DLC for The Legend of Zelda, and he's also featured in the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2. You can also see Link sleeping in a bed at an inn from Super Mario RPG, and you'll see or hear references to him and his weapons in numerous other games like some Final Fantasies even, Animal Crossing, and Donkey Kong Country games. There was also a Zelda animated series and comic book, and I'm sure some of you remember his tagline of, "Well, excuse me, princess," back in the cartoon. I don't even know if that was a good impression. It's been so long since I've seen that, but I do remember actually a lot of it. Overall, and on an ending note, we could honestly go on and on since Link is a very well-liked and well-received character. He's won over 15 awards from varying gaming outlets and award shows or events, and he'll of course be slashing his way into the new adventure with the new Legend of Zelda game coming out on Wii U, which is the inspiration for the Link that we're creating here, as I mentioned earlier on. So the arms right there are the female version of a ninja. We're using that same shark fin and comb over for the hair that goes right there, but we've also got the head shape as a hairdresser, if you notice that when I was creating it, and those are the legs of a pirate. So we actually just used pirate, and that Link in the trailer, that's all that I have really to go off of, is an image from him from the trailer. Like most Links, you know, he kind of has a neutral mouth expression or a kind of intense or pissed off looking one. So if you want to create a mouth, you know, you could probably use the cat tail, but I'm not going to do that. Except for, actually, I will probably use it for one thing. I'm going to paint it kind of this light blue teal color almost, and make that as part of the design that's on his clothes. He's actually got a really interesting pattern on his clothing from that Zelda Wii U E3 trailer that we saw at this year's past E3 2014. So let's see, did we forget anything? You know, he's got, the reason I chose the female ninja for the arms right there is because it could kind of give that fingerless gloves sort of appeal, and he's got many layers involved here, you know, like he's wearing short sleeves, but then he has something underneath, like an undershirt, under tunic or something like that. So we'll call this New Link, and we'll just add a few Okay, no we won't. The stamp limit has been reached, so hopefully you guys all saw that. So if I am forgetting something, it's because the stamp limit can no longer allow me to create anything else. So we'll use the headband, which we did use for his eyebrows, but we'll use another one here to make the strap for his quiver of arrows that he carries. And that's pretty much consistent with almost all of my Link designs, is that strap right there. But I did want to show you guys this. This was another new Link that I used, and this was just really the main difference is some proportions with the head, different patterns for the shirt, and using a male ninja arm instead of the female, and then just typing in fingerless glove for the hands right there and stuff. So if that's a way that you like it better, you know, you can kind of pick and choose which things you like. Now the last, well, I'll say human Link that we'll show off here, or normal looking Link, is the one that actually I showed you in Scribble Ventures. That was the first Link reveal that I've ever done, really, in my series. And all he said was, you know, nope, watching Scribble Ventures to Navi when she tried to get him to listen. So it was a very quick design of Link, and I feel is definitely the weakest out of all the ones that I've shown you here. But we'll give him the arm strap as well. But it's a basically similar principle. It's kind of off of his Super Smash Bros Brawl appearance. So we'll go ahead and just type in Brawl Link as the name. But you saw that there was a hemisphere for the hat, and he's got a fang actually there in the back for the long flowy part of his cap. And so here's just a test of the scripts. As an archer, he's actually going to grab that bow automatically. So let's just go ahead and type in sword, and you heard the little shing once he grabbed it. So that script is all working good. So it looks like everything is in order, which is great. So yes, Link was the most voted on and most commented on and everything request that I had in last week's episode. Now, before we go, I also had somebody who mentioned if I could make some other Links, and that would be from Majora's Mask. Now, I don't want to spend, forever making all of the Links that you could possibly make in this world. You can make Dark Link, you can make the Zora Link, the Goron Link, but I actually chose to go with the DEKU Link. And the reason that I chose the DEKU one was because I felt like it might be somewhat of a challenge that I was up for, ready to undertake here. So I've given him the duck legs, or I think that might be goose actually. I gave him the goose legs and started off with a source object Oni, that's O-N-I. So it's just like this little red demon looking guy or whatever. That's one of the humanoids in Scribblenauts Unlimited. We've used a drain for the mouth. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. I'm just kind of using it as a placeholder because I do have another idea in mind. Just like I want to change the eyes right now. I was going to use the hemisphere shapes, but I'm thinking that this fin shape is going to be better. So just type in fin and use the organic fin. And so here's the ivory shape. I referenced that earlier on, but it's a good shape for making the hat of Link. Typically, it's the back flowy part of his cap. This is going to be a new challenge for me. I need to kind of figure out, okay, what am I going to do with the hair and all that stuff? So let me play around with this real fast. Okay, so this is what I was referring to. So like you can see his hair up there. I just used a whole bunch more ivory and horn shapes to basically make his grassy looking hair. And so I just put that on top of the head and then put our ivory shape or stamp in the back. So, you can, of course, put it on different layers or levels in this game. So I just moved it all the way into the back. And yeah, I think that we're going to change the mouth here. I was thinking I might keep the drain nearby, but now I'm thinking I should throw it away and just keep this mouth shape. It's a little bit better. You could use a circle or you could use the little donut type shape and put a dot in the middle and paint that black. And I'm also going to go ahead and change the arms. I had rubber gloves attached to a treant piece of an arm right there, but I think Kenpo is going to work out a little bit better for us because the rubber gloves just didn't seem to have the right shape. I basically want him to look as puny as he does, when he's in the DEKU Link form, and those rubber gloves made his hands look giant, like he had boxing gloves on or something. So just taking Kenpo. Kenpo is one of my favorite Maxwell Brother stamps. Yes, it does sound like Kendo. I know that a lot of people make that analogy or whatever comparison. But yes, this is pretty incredible. I mean, I didn't even know how that was going to turn out, but we've got a whole bunch of the realistic looking Links, and they actually are afraid of the DEKU Link. Maybe we should make some editing in that. Basically, I think it's on how they react to the source object for the DEKU Link, the Oni. I think they run away from that, so I need to change what people react to him as. But that's like, honestly, again, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to turn out, just because I didn't really know what I was going to do for creating the DEKU Link exactly. But one last minor adjustment is that I will change the color of the eyes. They are kind of glowing, and it was hard to make a glowing eye in this game, of course, out of just the things that we've got in the object editor. So I just went ahead and painted them a little bit darker shade of orange. But I appreciate every comment from last week. It was amazing. I said, hey, you guys can request again. Also, if you appreciate me, tell me about it. Tell me about the video, just because I know that most of the comments are going to be, hey, make this and make that. But you guys actually did. Many of you who I haven't heard from in a long time, and many of you who I have heard from recently, all commented saying wonderful things. So I thank you so much. You guys are the best community out there on YouTube right now. So go ahead and vote on your favorite request for this week. If I didn't do the request that you voted on last week, go ahead and throw it in this week and see if people will vote on it now that Link has been done. So again, it's based on which comment for item has the most comments or thumbs up or plus ones or whatever you want to call it. Basically the most interaction and seems like the most amount of people want it to be made. It can be video game characters, movies, or nerd and geek culture excluding YouTubers. So I will not be making other YouTubers. Two other things to say really quick, and then I will leave you be to the rest of your day. One is to please leave your requests to just like one object. Some people were listing like 10 of their favorite characters, and I'm not gonna make 10 in an episode, you know what I mean? You need to try to just do one at a time. If it's something something like, I made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where it makes sense for all 4 of them, then maybe I would make all 4 of them. But, like, don't request every single Mortal Kombat character or something like that, like, request one at a time. Please, and thank you. And the last thing that I was going to mention is I had a comment from somebody who, I forgot to address this, but I have not forgotten the items that were still on my list. There are some that, we never actually finished the whole list from before when I kept telling everybody, don't request anything, because I still have lots to catch up on. Well, I still haven't there's probably about 20 or 30 objects still left on that, probably closer to 20, I would say, actually. Link was actually one of them. I basically wanted to just say that I will be creating those in separate episodes, so those will still get done. Never fear, please. I'm just going to be making them in tandem with all of these episodes. So again, I love you guys, and I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.